I don't know if y'all are familiar with the paper, but we're that newspaper in Arkansas that's been charging for content for since about 2002. For many years, people have looked at us thinking, you guys are crazy, what are you doing? You're going to lose readership. Now, I'm going to show you what's happened with this pay model. We started this in 2002, we still have it in place, and we feel like it's a sustainable model. Every year, the Center for Digital Futures at the Annenberg School of Communications, it's at USC, they produce this annual internet survey. And the 2010 survey, one of the questions they ask them respondents is have you dropped your newspaper or magazine circulation because you could get it online for free? And 18% answered yes, they did. So almost 20% of the respondents had dropped their subscription. It's not good for printed outlets. Around 2000, we started, we started aggressively putting content online, but 2000 we started putting a lot of content online. And we started hearing from our readers that were saying, hey, I don't need to buy the paper anymore. I can read it all online for free. And so it made us stop and think, and we were a little hesitant. Is this the right thing to do? So we started looking around and doing a little research, and we came across a product called Olive. It's a Olive Active Paper. We've had that in place at all of our newspapers since 2002. And what it does is it takes a PDF of the newspaper and rips it apart and produces an e-edition of the newspaper, as well as allows us to take all the content that's in there and repurpose it in a regular website. But what we found out when we were talking to the vendor is that the ABC, the Audit Bureau Circulation, which counts all your circulation, would allow you, if you charge for access to that e-edition, to count that as paid circulation. And so, as publishers, we think, oh, that's great. More circulation is better. So, in 2002, January 2002, we put all of the newspaper content behind the paid wall, and we had a little bit of resistance to that, but anybody that was a subscriber to the newspaper could read all of that content online if they chose. They could also see the e-edition as well. We still kept photos, breaking news, email updates as we progressed through databases. All of that content, videos, is all in front of the paywall. So you don't have to have a subscription to access it. The only content is just the written stories. And we don't slap people in the face when they come up. It's like, give us, pay up or you can't read anything. We realize you can't just put the newspaper content on the website and expect people to stay there. You've got to have more content. And so we looked at ways, we could do that. Our newsroom staff does not participate in producing content for the website. Our newspaper staff produces content for the printed edition. They focus most of their efforts on what's going to be in the next day's newspaper. It's good and bad. It's bad in the sense that we don't have updates, in the middle of the day. We had to come up with a way we could update the website to keep it fresh, to keep some local content coming in. It's good in a way that those reporters aren't worrying about, oh gosh, I gotta write 2 graphs and get it up on the line. They can really focus on doing what they're paid to do, which is to go out and report on the news. We've had this model in place for about 3 years now, and we feel like it's working. We have a very small online staff that focuses primarily on producing content for the website. We do get some support from the reporters when we get for documents, court filings, spreadsheets, data, information like that. But any videos, any extra photos, building databases are all handled by a small group. We've got one senior news editor, we have a news intern, a news producer, and we actually have 2 reporters. And those are real essential for the site. They cover about 7 days a week. During the Monday through Friday, we have somebody in at 6 a.m. immediately updating the website. And when you get on our site, the first thing in the morning, you'll see a lot of content that's from the daily newspaper. But we immediately at 6 o'clock begin updating that. The early news editor comes in and she'll start scouring the wires and the local beat and press releases, and immediately start doing rewrites and doing some reporting. I also have a reporter that comes in at 6 a.m. He runs traps at all of our law enforcement agencies, and we get, within a couple of hours after 6 a.m., you're starting to get a fresh look of content. All this content is free. It's not the same content that's behind the paywall. So it's all out there. It's very brief many times, but it's got a constant flow. When readers do come across a subscription story, they receive a prompt and they say, this was in the print product, you got to be a subscriber, either online or to print. If you're a print subscriber, it's a simple registration process. If you're an online subscriber, you go through and give them a credit card. We charge $15 a month for print and online, which allows you to have online. We also charge, interestingly enough, $15 a month for online only. Same thing we charge for print, so you can have both. The goal here is we hope people will go ahead and buy the newspaper, because we want them to buy the print edition. And then if they just want 1 day's access for $1, they can have access to that one day's newspaper. Subscribers do get the past 7 days newspapers for free. They can have all that content. After 7 days, all the content goes into the archive, and that is a fee-based archive, whether you're a subscriber or not. Subscribers also have access. I mentioned the e-edition, or what we call our olive edition. We have a tremendous amount of people that like to look at the traditional newspaper. It's really interesting. Our look and feel is more traditional. Our readers like this. We know this simply because of the traffic we get just in this area alone. We do have mobile solutions for just about any of the handheld devices, from iPhones, Androids, Blackberries. Your same subscription that you have for the paper or for online will give you access to all of these devices. And then last fall we introduced an iPad app right around December. Apple should thank us. And we've had a lot of success with this. A lot of our folks that are traditional newspaper readers love this solution. I like it a lot. It's really easy to flip through the newspaper and read it on a Saturday or Sunday morning. We also give a feed of the updated latest news from the website in the top version. You do have that available. So if you want to check the news throughout the day, it's still coming in. So why do we have this model? Why do we do this? Well, it's defensive in a way. We have to protect the print circulation, the print revenue. And why do you have to do that? Well, you've probably heard this, but the online revenue only makes up about 10 to, in some places, 20% of the total revenue for a newspaper. That's not enough to pay for the journalism. It's not enough to allow our reporters and photographers and editors to do what they do. We have got to have a revenue stream to produce that content. And so right now, print is that solution. We're not opposed. If we can come up with a better model or a good mechanism that'll produce the amount of revenue we need to practice that journalism, but right now, print is it. And so we have to protect that. This model also allows us to be competitive. We have a lot of television stations in our market, and there are prime competitors for updated news throughout the day, and just this small staff is able to keep up and pretty much stay ahead of them. Through this, we're developing new audiences because we're having some of this little bit of free content that's out there. They're coming in, they're reading, they're also coming across the paid content, and many times if we get them interested in some of the paid content, they'll sign up, become subscribers, or they may sign up and want to post comments on the website. When we do that, we then have the next item, we get more demographic data about our readership, so we know who they are, what they're doing. And then with that demographic data, we can reach out to them for email updates, marketing, coupon daily deals. We have a new daily deals platform. Different things that might interest them to get them to stay with our site. So why do we think this works? Well, let me show you some numbers now. Every year, newspapers have to do audits with the Audit Bureau of Circulation. They have to supply their circulation figures. In September of 2000, our daily circulation was 172,000 subscribers. In 2010, with the paywall in place, our daily circulation is 177,000. And 3.2% increase. And people, you're probably thinking, well, that's not a big deal. Well, it is for newspapers right now, because if you take a look down at the right-hand side, there you see some pretty big newspapers here, and you see the impact that is, or what's occurred with their circulation in the last 10 years, and there's some pretty significant drops, upwards of 40+% in some papers, and that's pretty sad. So to be able to show a gain, even if it's just a few percent, we feel this really is telling. So you might think, well, gosh, it's really still got to impact your online traffic, right? Not the case either. In about 2001, we had about 3 million page views a month. Everybody was pretty low back then. And about 2002, we put the paywall in place, and it dropped, of course. We anticipated it. It got down to about 2.6 million, I think, at one point. But it just happened for about a year. We just floated around for about, and then slowly it started growing. We're talking without really any enhancement from 2003 to about 2006, it grew. Then in 2006, we had a major redesign of the site and a philosophical change where we were going to start providing more content and videos and photos. And from then, it really lifted off. We're getting about between 7 and 8 million page views a month now, which is, we want to get to about 10 million. We feel we'll be comfortable, but again, for a paid site, we feel that's pretty strong. In terms of unique visitors, this is a snapshot. These are not our actual unique visitors, but this gives us an idea of, allows us to compare against some of our competitors in the market. 2008, we're about third, fourth, floating around in there. And just in the last few years, we've really skyrocketed. We're seeing a huge increase in the number of monthly unique visitors coming to our site. We virtually doubled our numbers. And so we're really pleased about that. So what's next? What do we do now? Well, there's a number of things we're looking at. Hybrid subscription model, a mix of Sunday and a weekday, Sunday, Wednesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Some of the old models we used to have in the newspaper business back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, and just trying to break it out, make it soften the amount people have to pay. And then ultimately what we'd like to see is an article by article solution, but that's going to take a mechanism and an agreement by a lot of newspapers, so that you could buy, with a PayPal account, you could go in and buy an article at the New York Times or the Democrat-Gazette, or wherever, all for $1 here or a penny there or something like that, so it's real reasonable. Right now, credit card fees kind of make that just not a good situation. That's it.